Welcome to Better Music. I'm Tompa.
I'm Bob.
And today we're looking at the BOSS Waza Tube Expander versus the UA Aux. So today we're looking at some of the similarities and the comparisons between the two units and just where they differ, and if you're a consumer, like which one's
right for you? Ultimately, which one's right for you? This is, it's a really interesting comparison, is because they do have very, very similar characteristics, but they are so different in the way they deliver them, I think.
Definitely.
There's clearly the aesthetics difference straight up. You can see this one's a little pretty. The BOSS, it just looks like it's built like a brick surf club.
Yeah, tough, roadworthy. So both of these units are reactive lows and attenuators for your speaker cabinet. Basically into your speaker cabinet for live use, and then a line out of this, so you don't actually have to mic up your cabinet.
No need for mic. The other great features about this is, I guess, the applications. Yes. The applications for this, so studio use or live use, this is going to be a great tool for people that have big old amplifiers, big 100-watt Marshalls and things like that. They actually become usable with a really, really responsive attenuator. You can actually drop the power down without any tone degradation, and that's a huge thing. You know, most attenuators will color your sound slightly, and you do have to adjust for it. These do it in a way that they actually give you a real sort of response and a real sort of feel, and you don't lose any of your tone.
Yeah. So both of these units can take up to 150 watts each. Yeah. So if you've got a triple rectifier at home and you want to play with your headphones on, you can. Yeah. So. Yeah, so they've got a massive kind of, they can take a lot of power in.
Yep.
The difference between the BOSS compared to the UA, it actually has a power amplifier in it.
Yeah, so that's something we'll touch on too, because the power amplifier side of things is great for the guys that have little amps. So if you've got like a Pro Junior or something like an old small combo that you love, but no, it doesn't have the legs to perform on like a bigger stage, you can actually use the tube expander, the Waza Tube Expander, to power it up to 100 watts. So you can actually really peel some skin off faces with that little Pro Junior or whatever low-powered amplifier you have. It's a great thing. It's a really well thought out part of the unit, I feel.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Also with the BOSS, you've got GAF-C integration. If anyone else has BOSS products already, you might even already have one. So you can, using this foot switch, you can turn on reverb, delay, change patches, rigs.
And
yeah,
MIDI.
And MIDI as well.
It's
so
MIDI assignable.
For a practical thing, say we've got a Pro Junior and like, oh, I want to take that to a gig. You whack that into the BOSS Tube Expander. You've now got an effects loop. You've now got delay, reverb, and compression.
And all adjustable.
Yeah, MIDI controls if you wanted to have other pedals plugged into the effects loop.
Yep.
And all through this one GAF-C, you can...
The most basic of BOSS foot switches for these sorts of things. The application, the GAF-C is the standard foot switch for the BOSS Katana 100. It's also the standard foot switch for the Next Tone series of amplifiers as well. So it's a really versatile foot switch. And BOSS, again, I love that they've allowed you to take, you know what, this could work as well. We're going to make it work, and it's just brilliant. The BOSS is using this I guess what you would now call the BOSS standard, the Tone Studio. It's really easy to use if you've used Tone Studio before. Basic as. If you haven't used it, I cannot stress to you enough how easy it is.
Yeah. The UA Aux capability, it has 3 mics, so 2 close mics and a room mic.
Yep.
That can all be blended in with its separate EQs.
You can change them off axis as well.
Off axis, low pass filters. There's also dampening for the room. So on the app, there's a carpet, and basically you can delete it. It gets rid of the reflections or gives you more reflections. Yeah. So and you can. That's very prevalent in the room mic.
But the difference is there too. Like if you're doing it in real time, you can actually hear it. It's not just a gimmick. Oh, there's a carpet. You know, you can actually hear it, and you can actually feel the difference in the playback. You can actually feel it. It's a really good thing.
Yeah, and individual faders for all the different microphones.
Yep.
You've also got the compressors, delays, and reverbs. The Waza does have that. The UA
again in a different way. The
Wazas would be a BOSS proprietary reverb or delay or something, whereas the UA Aux has modelled
The 11,
the 1176
like
compressor.
the grail of compressors.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
So basically, studio gear that you'd have to sell your car to afford one rack of these.
You'd have to sell like 5 of your cars.
Yeah. My
I've
bikes.
seen your car, yeah.
It gives just the everyday person the ability to access these things that you'd only get in the most high-end studios.
Yeah, and that's, you know, and that's part of Universal's charm, I guess. Universal Audio, they, you know, the quality of their software, the quality of their interfaces, and just how easy they are to use. I know a heap of the guys here in the store have UA Apollos and things,
Yeah,
so you know
interfaces.
it's super easy to use, and the Ox is no exception. I should mention the app is super simple to use. So Tompa's, like, you'll see. We're going to muck around with mics and things. You'll see.
So you can pan each microphone left and right, so get it in the exact spot in the stereo field, fade them in and out, solo, mute, like there's so many, and EQs for individual mics. Like there's just so much functionality.
But it was straight out of the box too. It wasn't a difficult thing. You get it out of the box and, oh, you know, this is going to be difficult. No, it was really easy to get done. It was really easy to get started.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And the other thing I touched on as well, you know, with the presets, if you bring up the presets and have a look in here, you'll see there's Van Halen, there's ZZ Top, there's Pink Floyd, there's all sorts of stuff in there, and they do sound like it's crazy how close they sound.
Access Room is bold. I really enjoy the names that they have to give.
Cryptic names. They're not the only company that do it. It's always like, oh, I wonder what that one is. You know, and then you'll get something like Brick Wall, and you're like, oh, okay, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really great feature of the Universal Audio Aux that they've got this really tactile software that, you know, Mac compatible only, but on an iPad or whatever, it's so easy to use.
Yeah, and so the Aux has a Wi-Fi hotspot. So basically, it's not, you don't need Wi-Fi in the area to use it. It creates its own Wi-Fi.
But you'd have to put a SIM card in there if you
did. Exactly. But like, so it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of Iceland in a snowy field or something like that. You'll have Wi-Fi and it'll connect to the iPad. Like, it's producing the Wi-Fi and the iPad can pick that up.
Yeah. And a lot of companies are using that technology now. I know, you know, there's mixing desks that have the same sort of thing.
Yeah, it just gives you that portability of either you can get someone else to play and you can do it yourself, or you can just give the iPad to a sound engineer and he's out where the crowd's going to be. Because the sound changes so much compared to where you are on stage or out the front.
Yeah, the applications are great. So you can actually have this set up in your in like a separate room, like an isolation booth or whatever. Have it all set up, and you can actually be controlling it from another room. You know, like it's a great thing.
Yeah, they both have lots of function in there.
Yep,
their software kind of side of it.
Now, the one other thing I am going to touch on is the rigs. Let's talk about the rigs. So the rigs are essentially your presets. They're your sounds, and you can store up to 6 on the Aux, and you can store up to 10 on the Waza Tube Expander.
Another point for the Boss, you can change that by the GAFC.
Okay, the GAFC.
Yeah, so the UA Aux, if you were using this live and you had different rigs for it, like say you had like a Marshall kind of stack for a high gain sound and then like a Fender kind of combo for a clean sound, you'd have to actually do that manually on the unit. Whereas the Boss, the GAFC, one step of the button and you're off to the races.
All right, so I'm just going to explain a little bit about the control that we're using with this. So the idea is that these two products do a similar job in their own very, very unique ways. So what we've done is we've created a few presets or rigs that are using the same kind of microphone, single microphone, into the like in front of the same kind of cabinet, and that's where we're going with it. So if we were to use the UA Aux to its full capacity, it has up to three microphones available for your cabinet. So 2 for the cabinet itself and 1 as a room, like an ambient kind of mic. On the other side of it, the BOSS Waza Tube Amp Expander doesn't have more than 1 mic capability, but what it does have is you are able to load your own third-party impulse responses. So we figured that if we were to use the 3 microphones instead of 1 for the Aux against the BOSS tube amp expander, it wouldn't be a fair fight. Nor would it be fair if we'd use third-party impulse responses against the UA aux. So hence the single microphone in front of the cabinet as the control. Closed mic'd, that sort of thing. So what we've done is we've got 2 amps set exactly the same. All switches, everything is exactly the same settings, levels, the whole lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to A/B between them, and you'll hear the differences, the subtle differences. There are pros and cons for both, and let's just play through and you can make up your own mind.
So for our first example, we are plugging the Friedmans into both the boxes. The first one we're going to be hearing is the Waza. We're going to be going through a Fender Deluxe cabinet simulation.
Classic industry standard clean sound.
Yeah. So the UA aux has a automatic impedance matching kind of, whereas the Boss actually has a adjustable resonance and presence setting. So on the top of the Waza, you'll see that they've got different settings for different kind of cabinets.
So first example is going to be the Waza.
The Waza, yep.
With a Fender clean sound.
Yep, so
a
a deluxe cabinet.
Deluxe cabinet. Yep. So you've got that. It is super clean, isn't it?
The UA.
Yep. Oh. Yeah, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So both of these we basically have set up pretty close miking. Sennheiser 421 as the microphone
as the mic, yeah. So, and this, the control throughout this, we've done our best to get them as close using the exact same microphones and speaker placements, things like that, between the two of them to give you the most accurate representation of them. But the 421 on that clean sound, like that's so warm. That's really bright.
Definitely got different characteristics between the two.
Yeah, go back to the Boss again. Yeah, that feels a lot warmer under the fingers, straight up. Like the response and everything is just, it's a lot softer sounding. I like that.
So the next cabinets we're looking at are a Vox AC30 kind of 212 cabinet.
The 212 drive,
Yeah.
So again, we chose these examples specifically because they are so known. You know, it would have been easy for us to choose, you know, this boutique stuff, but not everybody knows the boutique stuff. So by going through industry standards, if you like a 2x12, an AC30, you know, you rock up anywhere in the world on a backline, you're going to find a 65 deluxe reverb, an AC30. Yeah, you'll find it'll be one of those. Everywhere I toured anyway, it was one of those. Anywhere I've been, any stage, it's always been one of those amps.
And again, Sennheiser 421.
Yep. Again, that's the control in this. Is that same mic, the same placement, everything there. So this is
The Waza.
Yep, the Waza. And that's the AC, so it'd be the Alnico Blue speakers.
Yeah.
With the 421. Okay, interesting. All right.
So the next cabinet we're looking at is a Tweed 410.
The Nana of all cabs, the Nana. It's that classic, it's based on the 59 basement, the Fender basement, which is the Nana of all amps, I feel. It's the one that everything was sort of modelled off until the 80s when the 800 came out. Or the JMP, I guess, the JMP into the JCM 800. Well, digressing, that 4x10 is just, it's so known. It's such a sound.
And it's just got that particular kind of grind, kind of like...
There's a honk in it.
Yeah, honky, mid-range
honk.
crunch kind of thing going on.
And it's so pleasant.
Yeah.
A 4x10 is just so pleasant.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so
starting with the Waza again.
Yeah, wow.
Speaker, and we haven't adjusted any knobs on the amps. They've been just on the clean channels.
We've only adjusted the reactive load on this. That's it. It's that sound, isn't it? It's great. Wow. Oh man.
And if anyone tells you that the speaker cabinet doesn't make a difference to your amp,
Yeah.
you just show them.
Sock them one. Yeah, sock them one.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's huge difference there. Even between them, though, again, using the same sort of cabinet, the same microphone, the 410, 421 into the 410, and there's again a noticeable difference.
So the next sound example, we're going on to the BE channel of the Friedmans, and we've changed to a Marshall 4x12 with greenbacks in it.
Yeah, and again, keeping the 412 mic. So the difference is that.
It's that feel that
It's
I can,
again,
yeah.
it's a feel like big open rock chords, right? It's doing that. It's a bit flat, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's flat, but it's got this kind of, again, it's got all of this brilliance in that top end, which is, you know, it's got that clarity, isn't it? Just that. I'll try it on the coward position. I think I actually prefer the sound of the aux on the single coils, but the humbuckers, I prefer that. I think. That humbucker sound, it just sounded a little bit more, had a bit more life to it, a bit more.
It's that pull and like it's like an elastic band.
Yeah.
And I think the Boss gives you that sort of, when you hit it hard, it kind of sags and like
It's
the jump, the pull back.
yeah.
Whereas the UA sounds good, but it's just kind of,
it's a little bit unstretched.
yeah, it's
The
yeah,
band
it's
is
kind of like
unstretched.
it's compressed, but it's not compressed.
It's weird. It's like the compensation that it has is good, but it's not as noticeable as the tube expander, the tube amp expander. Yeah, that but yeah, the humbucker sound, that sounds great. Like it's still a great sound.
they're
It's
both
still a
really good.
fantastic sound. It's just I think to my ears I prefer the tube expander, but in that sort of sound. Just the brilliance of the aux, it does something. It's still, and not taking anything away from the tube expander, it's still there. It's just filling it. It feels like it's a bit fuller in the sound. There's a bit more going on with in the spectrum than the aux. But the immediate gratification of the aux is that clarity. Straight up, you start playing, you can hear the pick, you can feel everything. But with the tube expander, you kind of got to work for a little bit more, but one more time. That's a really great comparison because you can really feel the difference between, and not everybody plays humbuckers or not everybody plays single coils. So that's a really telling thing there, I guess, if you want that clarity and that immediacy of the brilliance of single coils, which they provide, then the aux is super bright and super high fidelity, for lack of a better term. This, it seems that, as I said, just a bit more mongrel about it. I kind of like it.
So the last setting we're looking at is the same cabinet, so the Marshall 412 with the greenbacks, but we've gone to the HBE channels on both the Friedmans.
So the high gain. So we've deliberately chosen this as the last sound because we wanted to show the spectrum of how different they can be with different speaker cab settings in that line, out of the line out. This one is, I guess, we have to do a high gain thing. We just have to, right? It's just one of those things. So there's clean stuff in here, there's also high gain. It's that immediacy out of the immediate brilliance out of the aux is there. It's all of that clarity.
The chugs you get with the Waza.
Yeah. Yeah, the chugs, again, it's there. It's just this, it's the perception, I think, is the initial perception when it's hitting you, is that top end and that bottom end of the aux are super present.
Yes.
They're always there. It's always there. It's just always bang, bang, in your face. Whereas the Tube Expander, you've kind of got to work for it a little bit. Yeah. But again, it's just... I feel like that's doing a little something to the mids as well. Like whether it's a part of the charm of it when it's all of that brilliance in that bottom end, whether it's compensating for that by actually taking a little bit out of the mids. It's kind of EQing it slightly. It's scooping the mids a bit, which is... The fullness of the Waza. It's just there, isn't it? Yeah, right, okay. Yeah. That's a pretty stark difference. Like the last one, I guess the higher the gain, the more noticeable it is how different they are. Both really, really cool sounds. So we'll touch on now, we mentioned at the start of the video, these are actually attenuators as well. Yes. So again, for those of you playing at home, the attenuator basically knocks down the power of the amplifier without adjusting the sound. Technically, you should still have a pure sound. So what it means is, again, people using big old amplifiers, you know, like triple rectifiers and things like that, 150 watts is too much for almost any venue. So something like this in between your head and your speaker cabinet means that you can actually tame it and use it and not get any signal or tone degradation, which is really cool.
So we've got these set at a similar kind of level. The UA can only take it down, whereas the BOSS can actually take it down and up.
It can lift if it needs to, which is really cool. Yeah. We've got them set at a particular level. We've got the mics behind here. We've got an SM57 and the SEVR1, the usual mic combinations that we do, just into a Friedman open back cab that we've got here, and you can listen to the difference. The same volume, same settings. We've gone into the BE sound as well. So I'll play humbuckers and clean, so you can, single coil, so you can hear it.
We'll be doing a high gain example of the attenuators of the two boxes and seeing how they compare. And yeah, so the UA has a the impedance changes in the software depending on the cab we use.
It changes the feel.
Yeah.
It automatically changes the feel in the software, whereas
this is all analog, discrete component, changing the feel of the impedance. Like it's software versus analog kind of circuitry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, so
we're on the aux.
Yeah, we're on the aux. We're starting on the aux this time. All right, so what have you noticed?
It's the opposite.
It feels like the exact opposite of using the line in. So with the aux, what we had was every time we go to it, there's this fidelity, the higher fidelity there, more brilliance, slightly tighter bottom end, and that slight scoop.
Yeah.
But with the attenuator side of it, what's happened is it's kind of shifted. Not so much there's a scoop from the tube amp expander, but more so there's a bit more fidelity there. For what I feel like there's more high end and a little bit tighter bottom end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that is weird. All right, do it again.
From us having like experience with these Friedman amps at a high gain volume level, yeah, and we understand how they should sound.
Yeah,
I think the Boss is definitely.
I think it sounds cleaner.
Yeah,
I think it sounds cleaner. It sounds truer.
Truer.
Is that a word, Murdoch? Truer? Well, yeah, we'll accept that. Yeah, we'll accept it. It's a perfectly cromulent word. Yeah. So look, it just feels a bit more, a bit more honest.
Yeah.
You know, like this, it seems to have knocked a little bit of that top end off, which is a common trait in attenuators. They tend to do it. You know, my attenuator that I have at home has a +3 and +6 dB treble boost to compensate for it.
It's very hard to not do that.
Yeah, you are going to get, there obviously has to be some sort of compromise there when you're attenuating. But what I feel the Boss has done, it's almost like it knows you're going to do it, and it's like, you know what, I got you, fam, and it kind of brings the presence of the sort of treble up a little bit.
And I think that's all to do with this resonance and presence control here in the reactive load.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it sounds brilliant. All right, so we're going to have some fun now. Being a metal guy, liking high gain, we're going to try it under the high gain. See how it goes. So we'll start with the aux again.
Not stepped attenuation either, so the
aux has a stepped attenuation, doesn't it? Whereas this is linear.
It's basically just one knob, and you can just get it to exactly where you want to, so where your neighbours won't call the police on you, but you still like the sound of it.
Yep, that sounds fantastic. That's brilliant.
This stuff isn't for the guy that has 100 million amps anymore. Like, I feel that anyone that has a high powered amp in society, like, there's so many people that come in and they want amp tone, like tube amp tone, but at a quiet environment.
Yep, everyone's in townhouses and units and things.
Yeah, so
within close proximity to neighbours, or the one the big one we get is people with kids. You know, the kids go to bed and they can't play loud.
yeah, and that's the only free time they have from probably when the kids go to bed to when they go to bed.
Yeah.
And,
So I guess the UA aux. Why would you? Why would you with the UA aux? I feel it's probably for me. I think the compatibility, the ease of use, the compatibility with Universal Audio products is brilliant. The ease of use. We pulled it out of the box and it was almost follow your nose. It was so easy to use, and the quality of the sound, like the quality of the UA plugins.
UA is just renowned for just basically getting this high-end gear and or cabinets or rooms and just making them exact, like you'd A/B between the actual listening to the actual room, and it's just nearly identical.
You'd say that high-end accessibility.
Yeah.
I think it's giving people a taste of that really, really high-end quality studio gear at a fraction of the price.
Yeah, the one thing I forgot to mention is that the UA actually uses algorithms it's speaker simulation compared to impulse responses.
Yeah, so they're like super complex algorithms that change depending how you affect the app.
Yeah, like variable, like it's just infinitely variable. There's not steps. That's just like there'll be 100. Well, infinite. There's just as many as you basically can count. So as you move mics in and out, put dampening, choosing different cabinets, how much power. Like there's even a speaker drive. It's all doing basically equations to work out what it would sound like in the real life.
So next question: why would you? Why would you choose the Waza Tube Amp
I think
Expander over
just
the aux?
the functionality of the GAFC, so controlling your amp through the tube expander, having an effects loop in there.
Yeah, creating an effects loop for an amplifier that doesn't have an effects loop is a huge thing. The power amp section,
giving you more power.
Or less power.
Yeah,
more or less power out of out of whatever amplifier
it gives
you've got.
it gives you both because like there's a lot of people that run like Tweed Fender amps that like a lot of them they're about 7 watts. They're like not a whole lot.
I've got a little 1 watt valve amp like this big, a little 1 watt Randall, one of the RD1s, and it sounds fantastic, but it's so quiet. So now I can turn it into a 100 watt beast with this thing. Yeah, if I had one.
If
I had one, I could do that. But the other thing is, with my, like a JCM 800, which is like, it'll peel the skin off your face, that amplifier. It's so loud. But with this, you can tame it and get it to almost, you could get it to speaking volume without losing any of your tone.
Yeah.
So that power amp section in this and the power scaling, the attenuation in this is a little bit more intuitive, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
I reckon it's probably a little bit more.
It feels like just both the units are just they've used things that they're well known for, and they already have experience.
Well, that's it, and we mentioned that at the start. Both are similar products doing a similar job in their own way.
Yeah.
And the way of the aux is that high quality studio gear. They're known for that. They are so known for that. Anyone that knows their stuff will tell you Universal Audio is a good thing. Boss, on the other hand, are more for the performance. They're more for stage. Not saying you can't use it for the studio. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's probably more stage based.
Yeah, they've used a lot of their experience in amplifiers and processing. They probably use for keyboards and stuff like that to do a lot of the power amp section.
Yeah, but with this, and I've commented of Boss of late, I feel like with all of the features that this has, it kind of feels like at times the lunatics are running the asylum at Boss. Like all of these crazy ideas that people have been talking about or wanting for ages, they've kind of jammed into one box, which is a really cool thing. Whether it's for you make up your own mind. We've done this comparison today because since this was announced at the Winter NAMM show this year, at least a couple of questions a week from different people, completely different people, asking us, have you heard the Tube Expander? Have you heard the Tube Amp Expander? Is it any good? What's it like compared to the aux? And this is the best and most honest comparison we can give you. We're impressed with both of them for different reasons. I feel they're both really, really good. And in a perfect world, you'd have one of each, I reckon.
Yeah, like they both shine in both different areas. So
yep.
Very exciting new things for amplifiers in the future.
I'm showing my age here, but when I was an impressionable youth, the Line 6 kidney bean was, the pod was so revolutionary and so brand new. It made digital amp replication.
Throw your Marshall out.
Yeah, that's it. Throw your Marshall out, throw your Soul out, whatever you got, you don't need it anymore because you've got this. And it was this ugly red little thing that was an amp emulator. And I think it kind of scared a lot of people off. It wasn't bad. It was just, it was good for the time.
It was impressive for the time. And it's the same as if you were listening to 70s or 80s tracks now. Like, it's like, why do they have so much chorus on everything? It's just, it's kind of just like a fad.
It's for the time.
Yeah.
But that being said, I feel like that kidney, the little pod, the kidney-shaped pod, really put a lot of people off amp emulation.
Yeah.
And it really turned them off. And it's only been in, for me, the shift has been in about the last sort of 4 or 5 years. It feels like the line is so blurred now. You know, you can get, you know, you've got things like these that will help, you know, tame big amplifiers and let you're able to use them in at home, you know, in the studio, that sort of thing. But you've got all of these other products that are digital amp emulators and profilers and all of this stuff. It's just, the line is so blurred now. And, you know, what's that? So I think the first time I remember playing through a pod was 1996. I was about 16 years old. I'm giving away my age here. But I remember playing it and thinking, wow, this is the future. You know, I was so excited. How many, 25 years on?
Yeah.
25 years on and we're here. And I'm still excited. I'm still passionate about this stuff. I'm still excited about amp emulation.
It's just getting so good. And I've got a Helix.
Yeah, you've got the
model,
Helix.
And I bought that for easy use. I play with headphones if it's late at night. And I don't want to wake up the house and stuff. Yeah.
With a Helix now, and that, you could actually, there's a 100-watt amplifier with a Helix preamp.
But it doesn't scare me off buying something like this.
No, and nor should it, because these amplifiers, and this is probably the takeaway for me with this whole thing, is that big amplifiers like Friedman BE50s and Marshall JCM 800s and, you know, Fender Twins and or AC30s, all of these big amps that we've known and loved our whole lives and we've always heard, but been scared by volume, been scared by how do we tame this, what do we do with it? Here you go. Here you go. This is it. This helps. This is it.
Yeah.
There's no more hiding now. There's no cowards now. It's like, if you want that sound, you can get it.
Yeah, there was always that cranked Marshall, and people buy Marshalls to get that sound, and the volume you had to get that sound was just literally just, even in gigs, you can't even get to that.
I'm living with tinnitus now because of my Marshall and my history with loud amplifiers. I have this in my ears now. If this had been around 25 years ago when I started getting into amplifiers and buying amplifiers and things, it would have an absolute game changer back then. Now I just feel like it's so relevant and so necessary now, given, as we were talking about, you know, people like, I have kids myself, so I can't play my JCM 800 at volume at home at night. Either of these will allow me to do that, which is that's the dream, right? So look, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'd like to thank our friends at Roland Australia for lending us the Waza Tube Amp Expander. I'd like to thank our friend Mike Mamontov for lending us his Universal Audio aux. Given how quickly we got this video together, we didn't have time for our supplier CMI to get an aux to us in time. They are in stock. We do have them. CMI, our supplier, have them. And the Tube Amp Expanders in stock as well. We needed the aux for the video. We didn't have time, so we just borrowed one off a friend, but they are available. Any questions, any comments, hit us up. I'm Bob.
I'm Tompa.
Thanks for tuning in.